Using this proven method, you can learn to draw an accurate sketch. And below, I've provided links to the images that I created so you can follow along step by step, or you can use your own photos. Plus, I'll provide pointers on creating an interesting, meaningful composition. Come on and meet me in the studio. So we're going to start out with simple shapes. I'm going to make a still life using some things I just dug out of my cabinet, but still have meaning. Now see how we have several things that break across the plane that add interest. So we have this breaking out, that. Almost everything I've tried to overlap in different ways where it breaks across the background that it's sitting on. I am going to prove to you that you can draw. Now down below I have some of these items that you can use. You can download, print them, and follow along with me. Or you can do whatever it is that you want, whatever subject matter, and just print out this to start. Now the point is that you will get to draw whatever you want, whatever you see, without using any kind of crutch like this. But in order to prove to you that you can draw, that it's your mind that you have to train, your eye that you have to train, we're going to start out this way. And I shot a few different pictures on my kitchen counter, just simple shapes, and then we'll work up to more complex compositions. Here I have enlarged it even more. Okay, we're simplifying even more, and I have the little grid over it. I hope you can see that. There is the little grid that then will correspond with this grid. Now I don't know if you have ever read Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, but there is a tip in there that I think is wonderful. You take this, and in order to make your brain think differently, to not take shortcuts, to not assume it knows what it's going to draw, you take an image and you flip it upside down, okay? So in this way, I want you to simply look at the line. You know, like we'll start out with, where in this square does that line touch the edge? Where does it curve? Where does that angle come in? Right there. That curve right there. Where does it exit the square? Right here. Where does that line intersect that line? Okay? We're going to go through here and take these lines. I'm just going to do a simple outline upside down and simplify everything here. Okay? Upside down. Now that is to prove to you that it's really just about analyzing intersections of lines and shapes, okay? That's all it is. I can look at anything around me and I start to break down the shapes, simplified shapes, where the lines intersect. And so eventually, you know, we'll go to one of these that only has a line bisecting it horizontally and vertically. Okay, so then you've got a bigger area that you've got to draw in and look at all these relationships. Eventually, the goal is to be able to do this without any lines in it, and you know that you'll be able to trust yourself enough that you can look at a scene and draw it. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put these two together because we don't want distractions. Okay, I can see that that curve is not quite at the halfway point. If I had to estimate the halfway point, it'd be like right there. And that curve is more like that. Okay, that comes in there. With each one of these, you can kind of then estimate the middle of it and then look at, okay, well then how close to the center of that is that? Okay, now we've got that intersecting, almost touches that edge. You can touch if you want. Okay. Now over here, that hits at about the middle. Okay, so I'm going to make that in the middle. And this edge gets a little fatter. And then it gets thinner. Okay. Now that I see is kind of, it's the cloth underneath. And this comes up here. Oh, that comes out this way. There's a line. Comes up here. And that comes off that. I kind of messed that up a little bit. Okay. Just going to put a hint of that. I'm seeing some reflections and so forth in there. Just alluding to that while I'm there. Okay, now let's go to the next cell. Okay, so that's continuing from there. It doesn't go all the way over. Okay, so if we're to look at the middle of that, middle of that, middle of that, that cup, look at the middle, comes up now see how I'm sketching in pencil? Do yourself a favor. Get you an eraser. Take the stress off. Nobody's looking. You don't have to be perfect. The important part is to try. Okay, that hits it about the middle. Over here, back down there, we have, up here, that's the cloth. Okay. Let's go to this one. Okay, so you've got, here's where the line comes out. There's where the line comes out. It's kind of dark. There's the center. So that rolling pin is starting just beyond the center. Okay, so I can see that I need to, I curved it that way too much. Oh, it's a little thicker. Okay. A little thicker. Okay. Now here I'm looking at the negative space, that dark background. Just square by square. What's funny is I could probably do a better job at this drawing it freehand, but it's to prove a point, and that's important. Because a lot of people are just so convinced that they cannot draw when what they really haven't learned to do is see. And that's the most important part. And frankly, you know, drawing is a fundamental of art. And if you ever really want to get anywhere with it, this is worth developing instead of relying on, you know, crutches. You won't be doing this kind of grid thing forever, I hope. That's not the point of this exercise. The point is to teach you that it's about learning to see relationships. Like that, I can tell, oh, it's kind of angled right here. And right at the top, it curves. Okay, let's go over more. I'm not doing my usual setup, so couldn't get my cameras working this morning. So I'm doing this in a way that I'm not real familiar with. Okay, here's fabric coming through. If you see that you've put something down incorrectly and it doesn't look right, then just erase it. That's why we work in pencil. So even something this complex, like getting the circles on that can in perspective, you can break it down. See? I'm looking at where that's coming through. Right here. Right there. Okay, there's like a halfway, so that's a little bit above the halfway mark here. Over here, it needs much higher up, like here. So you're just going to curve that together. Here it meets right at the quadrant, where the quadrant meets. The shadows below and the highlights above. Hope I'm still in the, yeah I am, okay. Okay, this is just below the halfway mark. It's got a little bit of a curve in there. And this goes just slightly above it and then down below it. Now, I've never tried to draw this image before. I want you to be aware that I'm doing this for the first time too. And that I really, really feel that you can do it. I got a little bit off there, a little bit too far north. Okay. Or south, seeing this upside down. This is a whisk sticking up out of here. I was actually doing this so it wouldn't be so complicated for you to draw. My main goal is to get you to look at these lines and shapes in relationship to each other. Okay. Okay, we're to the last little bit. And then we're going to flip it over for the big reveal. Okay, I'm seeing that line come through there. See this right here? And this comes through. I've got a big circle. And within a circle, I like this direction. Like that direction. And we'll too close to the edge. And then, okay, that's better. And that comes in here. Notice I'm just saying, you know, this, that line, that thing. That's because I'm intentionally not identifying things. These are just lines. These are just shapes. The line within that square. And that's the key. If you start saying, oh, well, I know what a sifter looks like, and you're trying to draw a sifter, that is your brain generalizing. And that's when you get in trouble. Something in the background. And some cabinets back there. Anyway, they're just lines. You don't have to know how to draw cabinets. You're just drawing lines. Perpendicular lines. That goes there. Oh, there's a handle right there. I missed that. And got that one up there. Okay, ready for the big reveal? Now this is with no shading or anything. There we go. There it is. And here's the original. Okay. There's the drawing. And the whole time I was doing it, I had no real idea which part of what, I was drawing. You don't have to. All you're doing is analyzing the outline of one area against the background. Okay, so this would be considered the negative space back here. This is, of course, the shape, but the edge of where that meets is your outline. So you can use that negative and positive space really on everything. Say that you're doing a tree outside and you're overwhelmed by all the leaves. Well, start looking at the negative space. Can you see the sky through the tree? Can you see the tree trunk through the tree? Concentrate on simplification. Squint and break down the shapes, the simple shapes, the highlights, the shadows. Lots of ways to do this, but I found this is one of the easiest ways to convince people that drawing is really about retraining your brain to see relationships differently. Okay, thank you very much. And next time, we're going to do a larger one. Okay, or actually the drawing's going to be the same, but this is going to be a little bit more complex. Thanks so much for joining me for this lesson. I hope you really got something out of it. You could help me to continue to give you free content by clicking that like button below and hitting the subscribe button so artzXpress will be easy to find in your subscription list. Also comment. I'd love to start a conversation. Have a great day. Bye.